हाय एवरीवन, वेलकम टू ऑल अबाउट म्यूजिक डिजिटल सेशंस। जैसा कि आप लोग देख रहे हैं, हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि इस लॉकडाउन के दौरान आपको अलग अलग इम्पोर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट से रूबरू कराएं। और आज का हमारा सब्जेक्ट बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है। आई रियलाइज दैट फ्रॉम द टाइम द लॉकडाउन हैज हैपेंड, many of our friends in the industry, right from artists, managers, and everybody else, is figuring about the revenue. We are not talking today about the lockdown revenue, but we are talking about the overall revenues from the music and the entertainment industry specific to music, that what are the different sources of revenue. And we are very fortunate that some of the most prolific names in the industry have agreed to be a part of the sessions. We'll introduce them one by one, but before we go ahead, we would like to show you a standard slide, a basic slide, which will explain you that what is the overall revenue models for a musician or the content creator. Can we have the slide, please? Friends, as you can see that for an artist or a content creator, there are various sources of revenue, right from recording. If you are a composer, you're a lyricist, you're a singer, you're a music producer, whoever you are, or a content creator, there are recording revenues, there are live shows revenue which are currently on hold, which the digital starts soon. Influencer marketing, audio, audio streaming, video streaming, sync, publishing, royalties, social media platforms, short video content, karaoke apps like Smule, Star Maker, and a lot of others, and merchandise and a lot of others revenue. So we will be touching on the brands and the digital perspective more today in this sessions, and we will not be talking more about live shows because we have a great panel today. I'll straight away move. It's fine. The slide is done. We'll straight away move to our panelists. We'll invite them one by one, and we'll straight away get into the sessions. Anybody having any questions, please do not hesitate to comment on. If you are watching on FB, comment on FB. If you're watching on YouTube, put it on YouTube. Our team, our backend team, will take the relevant questions to us at the end of the sessions. So, starting with the first panelist today, Shahir Munir. Shahir founded and co-leads Devo, a digital media and music company based in Chennai and Bangalore. Devo is one of the largest independent music distributors and multi-platform video networks in South India. Devo has been working with artists and musicians to help distribute and monetize their content, and has also married it with their content solutions to brands. And this in turn is helping artists and musicians to monetize beyond royalties. Please welcome Shahid Munir.
Yeah, hi Tarsum. Thank you for the introduction and
Hi
lovely
Shahir,
talk.
how? I hope you're doing well.
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on and invite our next panelist. My very close friend, Samir Bangara, co-founder and managing director of Qki, a creator-focused multi-platform media company with a digital DNA that he co-founded with legendary Shekhar Kapoor and A.R. Rahman sir. He is the former managing director of Disney UTV and has about 2 decades of extensive experience in the media and technology industries. Before the acquisition by Disney, Samir was the chief operating officer of India Games Limited. He started his career in venture capital, followed by a long stint as an investment banker. Samir has been listed among the top 15 angel investors in India 2013 by VC Circle. He is the founding co-chair of H2 and a mentor investor at GSF. He is a motorhead and is passionate about racing superbikes and cars. Welcome, Samir.
Hey Tarsam. Hey Tarsam. Great to be here, man.
Very
Happy to
true to
be
your
moderated.
introduction. Very true to your introduction. I can see the bike picture at the back of your screen.
Yes, this is a study that never gets used during the pre. I've never used it this much in the 7 years we've been in this house as I have in the last 2 months.
Superb. So we'll be having a lot of racing and motorbikes during our conversation as well today. We'll try to keep some personal discussions as well.
Kya baat hai? Okay.
Let's hope for the best. Last but not the least, I had to really work on the introduction because Shamir Tandon sir, as you know, is a man donning many hats. He has a long list of work which he has done. I'm trying to be as brief as possible. Music composer for the national award-winning movies, including Page 3, Corporate Traffic Signals, and the list goes on. He's worked with the likes of Manna De, Lata Mangeshkar, Jagjit Singh, Rahat Fateh Ali Khan, and the list goes on again. He has a long standing professional career, started with the country head of EMI Virgin South Asia, consulted Universal Music India, and also consulted CA Media for the digital content. He's also the man behind the legendary Six Pack Band. I mean, that's the first transgender band in the country. He's also the man behind multiple historic collaborations, including the Enrique Iglesias and Sunidhi Chauhan. He founded Music Boutique, which is a content production and live experience company. And under that banner, he also envisioned One Plus Playback series with 10 original songs with the current stars of India, over 500 million YouTube views till date. Please welcome Shamir Tandon. Sir, your mic is mute.
Thank you, Tarsem. It's all very kind of you, and it's very sweet of you to have taken me back as well on my journey with Lata Didi, the Saraswati, and Ashatai, Manada, Jagjit Singh Sahab, down to Guru Randhawa, Neha Kakkad, and Navasha. So thanks so much for all your kind words, and I hope आप सब जो business के दिग्गज यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं, आप खुद तारसेम या Samir for that matter, who's been a business tycoon in his own manner, and so शायर. तो मैं तो एक artistic हूँ ज़्यादा, though I have run Virgin for Branson in South Asia, but it's more from an artist focus. तो देखता हूँ if I can also contribute on the money making thing, क्योंकि हम लोग दिमाग से ज़्यादा दिल से करते हैं, पर let me make an endeavor today to be a part of this panel.
Definitely, sir. So guys, सबसे पहली बात, आज के हमारे जो ज्यादातर लोग हैं जो हमारा सेशन देखेंगे वो आर्टिस्ट हैं, और आर्टिस्ट को रिप्रेजेंट करने वाले लोग हैं जो कंटेंट क्रिएट करते हैं, और ज्यादातर वो लोग हैं जो लोग एक्सपर्ट नहीं है, बिकॉज जो एक्सपर्ट है वो सेशन में आने का उनको कोई फायदा नहीं है। तो ज्यादातर वो लोग हैं जो एक्सपर्ट नहीं है। आप तीनों से अनुरोध है कि प्लीज जितनी ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंशियल इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर कर सकें प्लीज शेयर कीजिएगा, ताकि लोगों को जेन्युइनली फायदा हो। और आज के दिन में ऐसे भी हमेशा दिक्कत होती है कि रेवेन्यू कहाँ से आए, पैसे कहाँ से कमाएं, क्योंकि money might not be the only criteria, but it is a very, very important criteria. Okay, Samir, you want to say something?
Yeah. I just figured out why you're moderating it. When you dropped this point about share confidential information, you should have been on this side of it. But we will ask the questions to you also. This is like, it'll work both ways, I hope.
Of course. That's the point. Abhi to maza aayega. I am more than happy to.
You have all the great trade secrets.
I will be sharing all of them today. Trust me.
Okay. All right.
And after the lockdown, it is becoming even more difficult. So it is very important for all of us to know what is the real revenue coming from. So I'll start with Shahid. Shahid, you are one of the largest independent platforms and in the South Indian market, and you've been working with multiple artists. Can we get in nutshell, like the overall audio streaming revenue, that if I have an audio as an artist or as a content owner, what are the various sources of revenue and how does it really work? And if you can be specific with numbers, it will be even great.
Sure. So, audio as a content piece, so there are various, ways for the content to get exploited and generate revenue streams for artists. And the biggest being the digital streaming platforms, which in the latest IFPI report also shows that the highest growth across any segments for music in the music business is coming from the streaming business, right? So the digital streaming platforms, so you have a variety of streaming platforms in India, and then there are multiple international streaming platforms that are there in India, and of course there are multiple streaming platforms that are present throughout the world, which may not be having a presence in India, but then still do get some visibility and streaming for artists from India. So having said that, so I think the key part is that every artist, they have the creative talent in them to come out with content, and they, keep the content and keep creating with them. It's also equally important for them to put it out there and, not just have it stuck in their bank or in their hard disk, right? So, and there are so many distribution platforms that are there out there right now. And of course, there are so many companies and labels are also looking at independent artists to, put out music out there. So I think that's the first key point, that, that they be able to put out their content. So regardless of whether they have a video or not, right? Which is also a very equally, or if in fact, even need be a more important strategy as well. But that they should be looking out to put out their content. So So if you can look at the slide, I think, which shows, the various streaming platforms that are there. So there are, the Indian streaming platforms like JioSaavn, Ghana, Wink,
Yeah, Roma, can we
etc.
have the slide, please?
Yeah. So all these streaming platforms that are present in India are very actively having a user base that is consuming music, Indian music. So whether it be film music, non-film music, devotional, regional, across the board, right? So they are very actively looking at acquiring more users
Mhm.
for their streaming platform, and they are coming out with different ways that people are able to consume it. Could be free to the user, wherein they may need to listen to ads or see ads, or the user can have an ad-free experience and subscribe. So based on
So,
how the user consumes the music, accordingly the streaming value or the rate varies as well based on the performance of the song.
so, Shahir, I'll ask a few questions immediately. Like JioSaavn, Ghana, Wing, Hangama, Spotify, Amazon Prime. I mean, these are generally the heard terms which most of the artists would know. I can also see Eros now and Raga in your list. So, does they also have streaming, separately, audio
Yeah,
streaming
so
separately?
so there are platforms like Raga, which is a very South Indian focused streaming platform, and they were at one point of time in the late 90s, early 2000s, pirater of music content like Napster, how it was in the West, and then
Hmm.
they adapted it, became a legal streaming platform. So it's again a
Okay.
very niche platform for South Indian music, and then Eros now they do have a music streaming service within their OTT, but it's again a very limited service that they're doing.
Also, the international DSP which you have put, SoundCloud, Napster, Deezer, Tidal, are these the top for the Indian platforms? Because I'm sure there are more than 200 platforms all over the world. But are these the ones which you have mentioned are the top out of for the Indian content as such?
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at international streaming platforms overall globally, of course, Spotify, Apple Music,
No, that's
Amazon Prime
already
Music
there in
would
the
be
Indian.
among the
Yeah,
top.
correct,
And of course,
correct.
yeah, that's already there. Yes, so in which they're in the Indian market. But of course, each and every streaming platform that's mentioned there, they have a very large presence in their own respective countries. So, for example, Angami is the number one streaming platform in the Gulf, right?
Okay.
So
So,
where
I mean,
there's a
obviously,
large,
India. Yeah.
NRI, Indian diaspora, and a large Desi community. Yes, yes. So, and similarly, Deezer is there in Southeast Asia. SoundCloud is popular in the US. Pandora is popular in the US. NetEase and QQ is, the number one music platforms in China. Bollywood movies
Hmm.
are doing well. So it's a possible extension for Bollywood music also to start, reaching there. And now a lot of distributors are also going to China and starting to release their movies there. So there is a large scope of platforms that's there beyond the ones that are there in India. But yes, I mean, 200 plus platforms is not really an important thing, but the bulk of it, the revenue would come from the DSPs that are there in India, and whereas the rest
Okay.
would be like secondary or ancillary revenue.
Okay, I'll ask you a few questions quickly, and I'll request you to be as specific as possible. That what is the per audio streaming rate for a consumer? For example, I am an artist and I want to put my content on these platforms. Obviously, I know that I will have to go through a distributor or I can go to online services. But is there a fixed price per view? Because you mentioned that there are multiple kinds of users. There are premium users and there are freemium users, which are ad supported. There are users who are consuming the content in India. There are users who are consuming the content outside. There are users who are consuming content on Indian DSPs, and there are users who are consuming content on the international DSPs. What are the standard rates, or how does it really work? Is it different for different platforms, or how does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely, there is a difference, when it comes to geography to geography. So, a person listening to the US in the US is
Hmm.
obviously going to pay much higher amount for a subscription fee, and and the ad rates are also going to be much higher. So, there's a combination of all those factors in place. Definitely, the geography, where they're listening, what kind of subscriber or user they are, right? But if you look at across the board, and especially since bulk of these streaming for Indian music come within India, right? So they all vary anyway between 2 paisa to 20 paisa, right? So whether it's a
Oh, okay.
free stream, which can be as low as 1 paisa to 2 paisa, or can go up to 20 paisa, 30 paisa for if it's a subscribed stream, right?
Oh,
But if you look as an overall average, if you ask anyone in the music industry what's the average revenue per stream that they get in, you would get somewhere around 5 paisa would be the average, revenue per stream that they get in. So as I said, that may not be a hard and fast number across the board, but as an overall industry average, that's what we see.
okay. So to easily understand that there is no fixed formula or there is not fixed number which the audio streaming pays to the content owners or the creators. It might also differ from label to label, person to person, content to content. And
Correct. So it's
also,
also very important aspect for the artist to understand that not necessary. For example,
Shahir, I
they tie
lost
up
you.
with an
Oh,
so
okay.
they may not be having their content out on the Indian streaming platforms, right?
Mhm.
And the rates also may vary. What an Indian provider for those streaming platforms can provide. So these are possible questions artists should ask, before they possibly work with a distributor or an online service. As in, what are the kind of rates that I will get, for this particular DSP, and possibly make a comparison so that then they're able to gauge that whether this particular service provider will be able to help me out, in getting my songs out on these streaming platforms, and whether I'm getting the right kind of market rates as well.
So last two questions. I have one question and one question Samir has. I'll first ask. Let Samir ask the question. Samir, good.
So just a quick clarification, Shahid. Thank you for simplifying that. I think it's important for people to understand while the rates are different. On average, it's about 5 paisa per stream. Can you just clarify for me as well as the users, I guess? Would this be what the artist gets net of platform and net of going through a large distributor like yourself? Or would it be gross? So if this is what the platform is paying, and then you are representing a bunch of artists, then you will have a rev share on top of that. So what is the absolute amount or the average amount that the artist will eventually make?
Correct.
And I'll try to draw the parallel in the video ecosystem so that we then have apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, so I think that's a very, very important question, a very valid question. And sometimes this gets lost in the fine print, which artists, sometimes are not able to see, right? So typically, you would find the net revenue is what the distributors provide, right? So this net
Mhm.
revenue would mean is that the revenue share percentage that they are taking off the artist content from from the gross revenue that they receive. Plus, we don't know whether they may be also maybe some hidden costs like marketing costs or upload costs, content hosting costs that may also be there, right? So I think these are the terms that would probably need to be very clear with the contracts. Is it going to be gross revenue share or is it a net revenue share, right? And then if it's a net revenue share, what are those costs going towards? So, and are you getting that bang for buck also for the distributor spending that money? So if whether it's marketing or whether it's some additional service as well, right? So I think it varies case to case for every distributor or every label or every online service. So I think that's a very key part for them to also understand what they're getting into,
So, but
because someone may.
sorry to cut you, Shahir, but just to fairly
Sure.
understand, 5 paisa is a gross revenue, not a net revenue.
Correct, that's right.
And the percentages goes from 10% to 50% depending on how much of the promotion is spending and how much of the cost is incurred.
Correct, depending on your terms of your agreement. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
And the last question, a very quick one. We have been hearing that after the lockdown, there is a huge rise in the audio consumptions. Has it added revenue to the overall audio streaming industry, or it is just a rise? And what is the percentage?
So yeah, I mean you see the overall streaming revenue has been growing year on year phenomenally, and I don't think there's going to be any stopping on that, right? I mean there may be
But
some bumps, like.
no, but after the lockdown, has it increased rapidly,
So
really,
yeah,
really
so I
big?
think the answer would vary because one, the supply has been less during the lockdown, right? And
Hmm.
the usual consumption that is there, patterns have changed. People are not going to gyms, people are not driving. So there is definitely a change in the consumption, being reduced, and I think there are a lot of pressures on the streaming platforms also to kind of innovate at this period. So they are also actively looking at doing live streams and things like that, right? But I think so it's a great time for artists to look at this period to kind of put on the creative hat and kind of come out with more content and not be worried about.
You're dodging my questions.
So,
No, but
Tarsam,
yeah, I mean,
I just did some. If I can just jump in for 30 seconds, I chatted informally with a couple of very senior execs at music labels. Okay, so and and I was comparing notes because of what we were seeing on video streaming also for YouTube and platforms like that. What I'm hearing is a lot of audio streaming consumption happened during commutes. Commutes has stopped. One, so of course they're consuming at home, but because the commute, and second, a lot of audio streaming, as Shahir rightly said, is obviously driven by film music, and there are no releases. So it's a great time for indie artists, but indie artists don't have the confirmed guaranteed slots on the streaming partners top decks, you see. So and they're not going to sell those top decks for cheap to suddenly an indie streaming platform unless that label is being seeded by somebody like a Tarsem or something like that. You don't get those. You don't get those deals.
I wish.
I wish. So the bottom line is actually reality, and I'll try and keep bringing the dhanda mindset to this. It is dipped. YouTube monetization has crashed. Streaming revenues, my understanding from two senior label executives, has dipped, has not grown. So consumption, the other reason for the revenue dip is that advertisers are not spending money. Even if you had the money, paise bank mein bhi pade hain, everybody's let's wait for 3 months. Aage dekhenge kya hota hai. So nobody is spending. If nobody is spending, your freemium model is going to take a dive. So ad rates on YouTube are taking a dive. It's expected. We are going through a massive, everybody knows, don't have to belabor the point. So even if consumption has gone up, monetization, which is what we are, mudde ki baat yahan pe, has taken a dip. And a lot of journalists have said that it is peaking and it's great and it's fantastic. It's not. And I think that also needs to be put out there.
Fantastic. So guys, Shahir, Samir, thank you. Shahir, thank you so much for making it so easy for us. The slide was really, really insightful, and we understand the various forms how we can get revenue from multiple platforms. I'll now move on to Samir. Samir, like how Shahir explained about the audio streaming revenue, the other biggest important revenue is video streaming revenue. Can you just give us in a nutshell, explain how can a content creator make money from video streaming?
Sure. Tarsem, I'm happy to do that, and I've done some homework for you and for your audiences. Just let me know when my slide comes up. And till then, I have an important question. I've set that as a reminder also we're going to have some fun with an Excel. Okay. So first question, Tarsem, is you have recently launched a music label. Okay. And you are
I wasn't expecting that.
So I said, no, there's still some confident information sharing on both sides. So you go first as moderator.
Okay, no problem.
So, okay. So has my Excel come up yet? Can you see it?
Yes, it is there. It is there. Yes, we can see it.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So as you can see, reminder to ask Tarsem, and everything is, there's no black and white. You can give us a gray answer. So we've got it all set up for you here.
No.
Tell us.
I'm giving you the right answer.
Chalo, okay. How much are you investing per track, including marketing, production, and some fixed cost allocation into that, so that we have a realistic estimate?
To be honest, right now,
0, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 25, 30, pick a number.
15 lakh rupees is the right number, yeah. Audio, video, promotion, and administration. Yep.
Okay. Now at 15 lakhs, I want you to guesstimate, and this is a guesstimate. This is not about sharing information, but a guesstimate. How many tracks will it take you to get to 100 million views as your first big threshold benchmark for your music label on YouTube? This we are talking about YouTube. How many? कितने गाने लगेंगे तरसेम आपके हिसाब से? 5, 10, 15, 20,
10 to 15 songs.
Shall we take 15 to be conservative, or let's take 12?
15. Okay.
15 songs. Okay. 15.
15 better.
तो अगर 15 कर रहे हैं तो 2.25 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट बैठता है to just launch the tracks.
जी.
Produce them, do their videos also. Okay, and audio distribute them. 2.25 crore का investment है. So first point is that music is you can hack it. You can do it for cheaper if you're not a large label or even an indie label like yourself. Large labels would be spending anywhere between 2 to 3x this number. I think we're aware, and we
No,
should just
maybe
sort of
more. Maybe more.
exactly. So on average,
I
30
have,
se 40 lakh,
Samir,
50 lakh. Yep.
50 lakh rupees should be an average, because I have been a part of tracks where labels have spent 2 crores also, because there are artist
Right.
demands. There is
Bilkul.
managers like us, make it life
Yes.
difficult for the label. So, I mean,
Absolutely. Yes. This is why it's payback now. It's payback. So the
sure.
So this, so mota, at the very least, if you want to do a decent job and you're doing
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic job, सवा 2 crore का investment है. Now
Ji.
let's come to this part of the and we'll take it step by step instead of going through the whole thing. There is the myth world, which is the dream world, and then there is the reality world, which is the dhanda world. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk about the myth and we'll bust the myth then. It is true that you can make 100 rupees roughly per 1,000 views. This is called the CPM monetization. It's CPM stands for cost per meal. Now, don't ask me why the meal is not a mile. Meal in French is 1,000. Now, why the world uses in English a metric for the internet from day zero, from the beginning of the birth of the internet, CPM is a way how websites have measured cost as well as revenue, and so also in YouTube. तो वो CPM कहलाता है, कॉस्ट पर मील इज 1,000 इन फ्रेंच. तो CPM रेट 100 रुपया बोला जाता है यूट्यूब के लिए मोटा मोटा. इट कैन बी लिटिल लोअर नाउ, but let's take a round number. So this is about 1.25 $1.3 CPM for India YouTube, broadly speaking. What this
Okay.
implies is, so what this implies is कि you're getting roughly 10 पैसा per view. 100 रुपया 1000 व्यू के लिए तो 10 पैसा मोटा मोटा per view बैठ गया आपका हिसाब. ठीक है. Now, if you like we were talking about, to get to the 100 million views, you've invested 2.2 crores in the example that we
Mm-hmm.
just saw of yours in the case study. And if you get 100 million views, you're a crorepati.
Correct.
कि आपके 1 करोड़ रुपए आ जाएंगे 100 million views पे इस हिसाब से. ठीक है.
Just on
Now,
one platform, on video.
just on one platform, one video. So even if you're sawa crore off your mark, you've got audio streaming, and let's say that audio streaming makes 2x of this, because Shahid said 5 paisa gross, तो वो अगर 2 पैसा भी 3 पैसा आ जाता है हाथ में, और you can get 5
Correct.
paisa also. So you'll get somewhere 1:1 भी बोल देते हैं. So you will be another 2 crores. So that's a good situation. Now this is still in the dream world. What actually happens? What actually happens is, to get this 100 million views, over here we have the 100 million views and what you're making. So abhi ke liye we've got the 1 crore or 10 million rupees, which is 1 crore. What ends up happening is, the first thing that people forget is the fill rate. What is a fill rate? A fill rate is basically आपकी जो इन्वेंट्री है 100 मिलियन व्यूज की, हर एक व्यू के ऊपर ऐड नहीं चलता है. और ये क्यों नहीं चलता है? पहली बात है यूजर एक्सपीरियंस. YouTube को हर एक व्यू के ऊपर ऐड नहीं दिखाना है. When you come back, you love a song, you'll see it 10 times. You don't want to be irritated with an ad every time you come back to see that song.
Correct.
So every view does not host an ad by design. ठीक है. दूसरी बात है, which is the bigger issue, is the demand supply gap. What is the demand supply gap? Advertisers, agencies, and brands, that is one full unit, they have to spend more money. Supply तो बहुत है, आपके 100 मिलियन व्यू हैं, लेकिन उस तरफ से पैसा नहीं आ रहा है in equal amounts, because they're still spending on a hoarding, they're still spending on TV, they're still spending on print. तो सब लोग बोलते हैं digital is growing very fast, but it is still only 12% of the total ad budget on average. Only 12%. Even
Wow,
today.
that's a great insight. Huh?
15% of the total ad spend. So some companies that say that they are breaking it are spending 30%. Like, that is too fun. So now 30%, you're still spending 70% in traditional mediums. तो उस हिसाब से if you look at it, there is a demand supply gap. तो आपके 100 मिलियन व्यूज पे तरसम अनफॉर्चुनेटली सिर्फ 20 मिलियन व्यूज पे ऐड चला है. तो आपका जो 1 करोड़ था वो 20 लाख रुपए हो गया, बिकॉज 20% व्यूज पे ऐड चले उसी रेट पे. तो आप करोड़पति से लखपति बन गए हो. अभी आती है बात, द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज वी आर फॉरगेटिंग कि देयर इज अ प्लेटफॉर्म. So the platform has its own share. In this case, we're talking about YouTube, and we'll talk about others also, but YouTube is a good sensex of the way the system works.
Correct.
So platform ka share kya hai? So YouTube has a very fair, flat rev share, 45%. And so they take away in this 20 lakh rupiya, you would have now shared 9 lakh rupees with YouTube, or YouTube के आपके AdSense account पे जहाँ पे आप पैसा कमाते हो वो एडसेंस अकाउंट होता है, जहाँ पे आप पैसा खर्चा करते हो वो 15 लाख रुपए में वो एडवर्ड्स है। तो आपके एडसेंस अकाउंट में ये 20 लाख देखेगा, उसमें से 9 लाख वो रखेंगे, आपके बैंक अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर होंगे 11 लाख रुपए। इस हिसाब से 11 लाख रुपए के हिसाब से मोटा मोटा आपका जो 10 पैसा ऊपर दिख रहा था वो 1 पैसा हो जाता है पर व्यू बेसिस पे।
Wow.
And
So
that
this is
one, so
Hmm.
that 1 paisa
Good,
per
good.
view is what your 1 paisa per view is what you're sharing as an artist with a partner. Could be a music label, could be a multi-channel network like us as one part of our business. It could be somebody who's financed you, your producer, whatever it is. So that then gets split. So you could say safely that वो 1 पैसा आपके हाथ में आधा पैसा बन जाएगा per view basis पे। एंड इफ द एड रेट डिक्लाइन जैसे कि अभी हो रहा है तो ये 85 रुपीज हो जाता है पर 1000 व्यूज। आप देख रहे हो कि दिस विल ड्रॉप इवन फर्दर एंड फर्दर ब्रॉडली स्पीकिंग।
Correct.
दिस
Correct.
इज हाउ the structure works. It's true for Facebook has also started monetizing quite nicely right now. Scale utna we've not seen as much scale, but it is very interesting. It is definitely moved into very into healthy numbers on an overall basis. Not as for us, not as large as I'd see on YouTube, but we are seeing slightly higher ad rates on Facebook, at least for our business and the kind of content that we are managing. And then as far as music is concerned, I think TikTok, which is just launched TikTok, there's so much of consumption and usage, but I don't think the monetization so far has gone beyond TikTok paying license fees to the labels. So as an artist, you're not making ad rates from TikTok. As an influencer, you can make money, but as a singer, you probably do not make money right now. They're launching, or they've launched a very cool with very cool features music streaming service called Resso, and it's designed for I think young people to use. It's very slick. I really love it, the way they've done it. The sharing in that is it's built to share. So let's see how that goes. Wahan se I think people can start making money just like they make money on Spotify, Apple, Ghana, Saavn, etc. So that remains
That,
that needs to be experienced in its full entirety.
Samir, first of all, thank you so much for this great insight. I don't think because see, I've started a level, so I understand these numbers, but I don't think most of the people who are watching us would understand these numbers in this clarity. And this is a really great insight. The thing which Sahir said, does it apply to YouTube as well? That if your content is being watched by premium consumers versus premium, the prices are different, or if it is watched in India and outside India, the prices are different. Because I also have a lot of examples and artists who are making much more money than what we are discussing right now because of a specific type of a content or the people watching the content from specific places. Is it true?
It's absolutely true, and there is no secret sauce to this. There's no secret to this. Funda बहुत simple है. In rich countries, ad rates are higher.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Western world, Europe, US, Middle East, the advertising rates on the platform are higher. So because the brands pay a higher CPM, like we saw, तो जो जहाँ पे 100 रुपया है वहाँ पे 500, 800, 1000 रुपया भी हो सकता है.
Correct.
So you
Correct.
could make 10 times, but if you're doing Hindi content, it's more than likely that your Indian diaspora is watching you in the United States. तो उसका जो शेयर होगा, अगर आपके 1 million views आए हैं तो 70-80% will come from India. 30% might come from people watching it abroad. तो वो जो हायर एड रेट है वो वहां से ब्लेंड होके वापस आ जाता है. मोटा मोटा मुद्दे की बात है कि 1 पैसा डज नॉट बिकम 5 पैसा. इट स्टेज रफली बिटवीन 0.8 पैसा to 1.5, max 2 पैसा अगर किस्मत बहुत अच्छी है आपकी.
Because you will counting on an average, you will divide the surge in hundreds of millions of numbers.
Yes.
Correct. Yes. So I'll quickly ask a few questions. Which is the bigger revenue? Because you deal with audio and video both. Is audio the larger revenue share, or the video is the larger revenue share for any content on an average?
No, we are largely a video company. I don't think we have done nearly as much work as required by, for example, people like Shahir or as indie distributors or labels to get the kind of stuff going on the audio streaming places. We are a video company. We make no qualms about that. So our focus is there. But in absolute terms, what Shahir was talking about, if you're a music label, if you're a powerful player, you can probably get wo 5 paisa, aapka gross, you might be closer to 8 to 10. That's because you're a powerful player, and it's a B2B contract. See, YouTube Pay, there is no B2B kind of a business to business dealing. You will get the same rate. Everybody gets that 45, 55% rev share. In the streaming platforms, you can cut a better deal with the streaming platform. So a music label might be able to, in my view, and Shahar can correct me if I'm wrong, कि 8 से 10 पैसा म्यूजिक लेबल को भी मिल सकता है, then they share it in whatever record. So the artist has to be careful, or the distributor going through the music label has to be careful ki what is the deal, as I said, between net and gross. So to answer your question now directly, you can make between 3 to 5 times more on audio streaming than on video streaming as it stands today.
So in general, the audio is a larger chunk in terms of revenue for musical content than the video platforms. Correct?
Yes, overall, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
One more
It
question.
should actually
two more
always be, Tarsem, Samir, audio, actually we are in the business of audio. Video is only a support function, and videos happen only post the MTV era actually. Otherwise, it's all about the song, it's all about the audio, and people want to just hear. So I'm very glad that the whole thing has come a full cycle now, where suddenly in the middle, the videos have become more important than the audio. But I think now with the focus back on the audio and the revenue coming back on the audio, people will start paying more attention on the audio per se.
But Shamir, this is for the money part.
I know.
If you actually look at where the consumption is happening, it's still happening on video, in my view, in terms of absolute watch time consumption versus listening time consumption. So because of the 5x, 10x delta and the monetization, paisa yahan pe banta hai audio pe. But if you look at how, because the younger people are watching music, and back in the day, how we used to all make music videos back in the day. And now even a music video made out of our homes is actually quite a funky video. So I think in terms of consumption, my biased view is that the world is about video. We will have Wikipedia and video, and everything will be video, and our children will only consume video. They will stop reading because everything will be on AI-based video at the touch of a button. So that's what we might move to, but that's a rather dystopian view.
Okay. First, I want to tell the admin, I genuinely feel our conversation will not finish before 90 minutes. So you need to let us know, because I'm enjoying this and it's a very insightful conversation. We haven't yet gone to the half of our conversations. Two questions quickly, Samir, to you. Are the lyrical video a good idea?
Absolutely. I think if you're doing high volume content, Tarsem, and especially in an environment right now, and you have multiple things to experiment with. See, there is never a one size fits all strategy. ये बात बहुत important है समझने के लिए. जो चीज आपके लिए what is working for you may not work for a music label, and may not work for an indie artist who's got one track every 4 months. Now, if you're coming in with a lot of muscle, with a lot of volume, I think A/B testing it. So if you have a lot of volume of content and you have lots of money, okay, then you'll make a music video. हर एक music video आपका 20, 30, 40 लाख का होगा, 15 लाख का होगा, and you'll put it out there. It's great. Now, if you want to decide and you want to use your money more effectively, what you can do is you can put out a lyrical video. Sometimes people put the lyric video as a second to extend it, to give it another life of that product. And because people also want to consume the lyrics, but now all the streaming apps have integrated lyrics beautifully into it. Instagram Pay, the music piece that they've integrated has beautifully. You can do lyrics in Hindi, in Gujarati, in Punjabi. All of the platforms have brought in lyrics. Ye pehle nahi hota tha. So now I think the value of a lyric video in the past was that, because who wants to see it on just in sort of text? You want to see it with the music. Now I think the value for me is in the numbers of it. कि मेरे पास अगर 5-10 गाने हैं and I see and I release them like people used to do audio tracks. In the West, the big singers used to do audio tracks and then drop music video. Even an Ed Sheeran will drop a music video after the album is released, right? Doesn't launch 10 music videos of the album on day one. Nobody does that. So the logic of this would be to launch this, and the one that you see is getting amazing engagement on your audio streaming as well as on this. You could make a more interesting video for that versus trying to make 10 videos at lower money. You could make 4 videos to start with much more investment around them for them to have a long life.
Okay. The last question, then I move to Shamir. YouTube is obviously the biggest video platform. Okay. Are there other video platforms as well apart from YouTube? And if you say which are the top 3 platforms where you can actually make money?
I think as far as money is concerned, YouTube clearly is the win for me from the video perspective. After that would come FB, and
Mm-hmm.
I have great hopes of a consumption turning to monetization perspective from TikTok, because today TikTok music is being consumed as a video. The whole idea of reso, as I understand from their strategy, I mean, I don't know it except for what I can put together, is that that music streaming will come from reso and get plugged into TikTok, so it'll start monetizing. So that might
Okay.
be a, and a lot of that is visual. If you see reso and the features, a lot of it is very visual. In fact, reso, and I hate to sort of talk too much about this, it almost seems like a plug, but you can take an audio track and you can use the features inside reso to get to make a music video animated like an anime kind of style music video, just using the app. So I think those are some of the cool things that no other streaming app today has.
So whatever money you are getting to plug in Reso in this session, we need to take a 45% cut out of
Done. Both I've spoken to Roma and Chandni about that.
that. So thank you so much for your great insights, Samir. I mean, this is extremely interesting. I mean, what you've shared, and that Excel sheet was fantastic. I mean, I love that sheet about the myth world and the real world. Now we straight away
The
move
Dhanda
to
world.
Samir, Danda
Yeah.
world. समीर सर, ऑडियो और वीडियो तो हो गया, ये तो सबको पता है, मतलब जैसे कोई इवेंट में बोलते हैं ना कि पंडाल लगाना है, साउंड लगाना है, ये तो सब दिख जाता है. अभी आते हैं अंदरूनी कमाई की बात. How do you make revenue from brands and all the other activities you can do around your content as an artist, as a content owner?
Tarsem, let me put the spotlight back at you. With your label, with your label, now that you're you're investing 15 lakhs per track, which is audio making, video making, promotion and admin cost, and you're suppose releasing about 20 of these, and you spend about 3 crores. And if I come to you and I tell you that, I'm going to give you 2 crores from a brand before you even start this activity. So what do you think of that?
I will just end this session right now. Come, take a mask and come to your place and get the check. And I'll tell you,
I'm not
sir,
too far away from you. So that's exactly what we do. And we are not doing this now. I've been doing this for the last 24 years, actually. I remember when Shantanu Mukherjee became Shan and, Atul Charamani sir curated the album and stuff. There were always these pressures of breaking even, because there are always heavy investments in song making, video making. Video making, as Samir rightly said, the costs have now dipped, but earlier in the day, the costs used to be very high when you were shooting on 35 and 70 and all of that. So if we are able to bring in a brand, and in the whole life cycle or in the whole assembly line, the brand comes in much before all the other revenue streams come in. At least that's the model we've been working on. That at the table itself, जैसे कहते हैं ना कि टेबल पे ही हमने 50% to 70% cost write off कर दिया, ताकि जो break even point है, that is down by 50 to 70%, which is great for the record label or a aggregating company like yourself, which is also like a label now, or the artist himself, because a lot of artists these days want people like Samir would say once in a while, a lot of creative directors come and do, they interfere in the creativity of the artist. Fortunately, brands don't, because the kind of model we are working with the brands, we are ensuring that we are creating a framework like a Coke Studio. एक Coke Studio ने एक branded platform create किया जिसमें सिर्फ ये कहा कि folk rock genre का music होगा. That's it. They don't come and say कि ये राग दरबारी है या राग यमन में आपको गाना बनाने हैं या ये artist को ये करना. No, Clinton is given full freedom. Sachin Jigar, Ram Sampath, all these wonderful producers are given full freedom to create their set of 5 songs. And the beauty, Tarsem, in this is that they still land up owning their own IP. क्योंकि आज कॉपीराइट का ही खेल है. आर्टिस्ट वांट्स टू, या इवन द record label wants to own it. So here we ensure that whatever deals we are doing with brands, the brand neither interferes in the ownership nor in the monetization process, which means that the artist can go to a Shahir and say कि भाई streaming में मुझे लाके दे दो पैसे, and then go to Sameer and say भाई video में मेरे जितने पैसे बनते हो मुझे दे दो, and so on and so forth. So that cycle still happens. It's just कि जो investment है वो कभी-कभी 100% write off भी हो सकता है, जो हमारे साथ बहुत बार हुआ है by God's grace. 50%, 70%, that depends on a case-by-case basis. And it also then depends on your cost efficacy. So this is more a cost subsidization model then I would call it as a revenue model. Revenue के भी बहुत तरीके हैं जहाँ पर monetization हो सकता है, but this is the most key model.
मैं थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ. अभी कैसा है कि अगर आप किसी भी आर्टिस्ट को या किसी भी लेबल को पूछो कि आपको ब्रांड से पैसे चाहिए, हाँ चाहिए, लेकिन मुझे याद है जब हम इवेंट्स करते थे तो जब भी कोई इवेंट का प्लान करते थे ये अजम्पशन होता था, अरे कोका कोला तो इतना स्पॉन्सर दे ही देगा, इतने लोग आएंगे, ये तो दे ही देगा. अभी भी कंटेंट जब हम बनाते हैं तो ऐसा अजम्पशन, जो मिथ वर्ल्ड समीर ने समझाया ना, मिथ वर्ल्ड और रियल वर्ल्ड, आज अगर मान लो हर रोज 1000 गाने रिलीज हो रहे हैं, साल में 20,000 गाने रिलीज हो रहे हैं, the percentage of brands investing into music, the number is extremely small. I just want to know that secret sauce from you because you've done it very successfully. Why does brand invest in a song? What are those key factors they look at when they decide कि इस गाने पे मुझे इन्वेस्ट करना है या नहीं करना है? और क्योंकि जो यंग आर्टिस्ट हैं उनके इतने फॉलोअर्स भी नहीं होंगे, इतनी रीच भी नहीं होगी, जो यंग लेवल्स हैं उनके पास कंटेंट इतना बड़ा नहीं होगा, इतनी रीच नहीं होगी. What is this methodology? How does it work?
See, it's very common sense. Actually, it's management by common sense. And चाहे आप यहाँ प्रतिष्ठित जितने व्यक्ति बैठे हैं पैनल पे या पर सुनने वाले जो कॉमन सेंस के आर्टिस्ट हों, कि any business is about being symbiotic. It's about reciprocity, creating mutual value. तो अगर और ये नेसेसरी नहीं है, क्योंकि बहुत से आर्टिस्ट मुझे कहते हैं, और शायद आपके जहन में भी एक क्वेश्चन होगा कि funding can come from brands only for the big talent, not for talent that is opening out. But that's not the truth, because I remember my own debut came, and there was a 16-year-old girl that time in 2002 called Shweta Pandit, who we launched. And I got Lyrical to be a sponsor because my label wouldn't fund me to fulfill my dreams of being a composer. So I had to go to Unilever and then raise that fund. And, because she was a young girl, and then we had her, we had some of the models sitting on that waterfall, the very famous little waterfall, and singing any song that we would compose and make. But there would be subliminal cues like, someone wearing a green piece of cloth and so on and so forth. So I just think it is about understanding the brand and seeing how one can weave in the ethos of the brand in the kind of content one is creating without, and I repeat with underline bold capital, without in any manner interfering with the creative process of the artist. In fact, I feel brands are less irritating than some record label executives who might come and say, "Yaar, ye nahi chalta, isme dholak dal do yaar. Ek kaam karo, isme mix mein aise kar do." Something is not happening. My driver's not liking the song. So वो सब चीजें नहीं होती हैं इसमें. As long as I basically, I'm a creative guy, but you can ask all the artists who I work with, wearing a branded hat as a curator hat sometimes. I only do basic hygiene checks. I see कि गाने में गाली तो नहीं, because no brand would want an abusive term in a, or at least brands I have worked with wouldn't want. Yeah, video अश्लील तो नहीं बन रहा है.
I'm sorry I'm cutting you, but मुझे को अभी भी वो जवाब नहीं मिल पा रहा है कि अगर मैं कंटेंट क्रिएटर हूँ या मैं कोई भी हूँ, मैं ब्रांड्स के पास अगर कोई प्रपोजल लेके जाऊँ, ऑब्वियसली ब्रांड के पास रीच होनी पड़ेगी. आई हैव टू बी स्मार्ट, आई हैव टू हैव कॉमन सेंस that it has to be useful for the brand. But what is that thing? Why do brand invest? मतलब उनका क्या फायदा? मतलब if I don't understand the brand perspective, maybe I'll not be able to give a good proposal. So as per your experience.
Like I said, yesterday I remember during our informal conversation, you said about Pepsi. I've done Pepsi with Alisha Chinay when she was the queen of pop, called Dil Ki Rani, way back in 99, 2000, 2001. We had, Pepsi doing a 10-city tour, Pepsi branding the album, having subliminal, those colors of Pepsi coming in the video, in return to which they paid us some money. And so by the end of it, when, we were seeing the typical P&L per artist, we would say, fine, chalo, the album sold, not sold, at least we've not lost too much money. And then there are, those typical quid pro quo kind of things, and those change year to year. Like during the physical world, we would put a logo on the CD and the cassette. We might end the cassette side B with a 30-second jingle. In today's parlance, these things would change. Like what we did recently with OnePlus Playback is we would have had an opening and a closing slate, maybe a bug somewhere. Maybe some kind of the artist taking a selfie in the video because it's a telephone, and so on and so forth. So we would figure how to tastefully and subliminally put the brand so that it doesn't even dilute the song or the video in any manner. Sorry, Samir, you wanted to ask something?
Is it, Samir, I'll just come to you 1 second. Is it right to say that the brands invest in music for multiple reasons? Sometimes it is for a CSR activity, like, brands just want to help the music industry, or there are brands who have that kind of a budget. Sometimes it is about reach. No,
I don't know any brand who's done CSR.
Actually, I just want to jump in there to just add to this. So what Shamir has given us is actually brilliant insight into the tools which the brand uses. And to just join the dots, maybe if I can, your question is, why does the brand do it? बहुत simple बात है, and he answered that first, but in a more general way, कि reciprocity, मतलब वो लेन देन, वो उनका what is the देन, or they are giving you the money, उनका लेन क्या है इसमें? उस लेन देन में दो ही चीज है, improving brand recall,
okay,
और increasing their धंधे की बात है, sales की बात है. Why did Coke Studio in India stop doing Coke Studio? It is such a successful property. I mean, you can say, no, the Pakistani Coke Studio is more successful in India, but people will say, yes, because the music industry is not so flourishing there. Whatever it is, Coke Studio in India is also a beautiful property. Why did it stop? It's not like Coke is run out of money suddenly. So brands move in their life cycle between a branding objective, which is not necessarily money, it's branding. It's how do they get, so when he's talking about this association value and the bug appearing, these are tools to get the brand recall. And the brand recall, or they say ki we want to sell more Coke, we want to sell more Pepsi, and so that association gets people to decide, because Shah Rukh is a brand ambassador, or if it's Salman now is with Pepsi, and we just did a Pepsi campaign on TikTok with 80 creators, but it's led by Salman and I'm sorry, forgetting the no, the Sri Lankan Bollywood actress,
Jacqueline. I saw
Jacqueline. So what I'm saying is that, so they were leading, there was Warner in the campaign, etc. All of this is to just drive top of mind recall, in the hope that when you go to the market, you'll actually choose Pepsi. Now, realistically, if you're a Coke fan, do you think you're going to do this? But brands have to invest to keep the hype. So they did Swag Say Solo in the COVID environment. Instead of Swag Say Bolo, now they've done Swag Say Solo. Very nice campaign, everything. So brand recall and actual sales increment, ये दो ही चीजें हैं. Now they can spend on TV, or they can spend on something else. So यहाँ पे they're using music as a tool to reach people, so that reach can improve the recall, and if it connects and they get engagement, objective is met.
Samir has a different view, and I love it.
Samir, I beg to differ in wearing an artist hat, and I'm sure whoever artists are watching this, for me, swag say solo, her going to my swag is not supporting the music. That's a jingle or an extension of a jingle for the brand. That's not the kind of stuff I'm propagating. That is something that वो एक विज्ञापन का एक extended format है. That is अभी तारसेम एक गजल बनाया है जो he's just released a couple of days ago. I'll be happy if some Shaw Wallace brand called Mughal Monarch in the yesterdays, or now currently any brand that wants to associate itself with ghazal as a genre without interfering in what ghazal hai. And like in none of our songs, we put Vivo, Oppo. We don't do this. Let's Swag se Swagat and Swag se Solo. These are all extensions. So this I don't consider as brand supporting music at all. Coke Studio, yes, because Coke Studio doesn't interfere.
That was just an example of how people
I know. But I'm saying वो भी एक वो भी एक है. जैसे अब वो क्लोजअप ने एक पास आओ ना एक गाना बनाया था राम और सोना के साथ. I don't consider any of that. They are very good. I do that all the time as a composer to keep my revenue in place, and that's fantastic as a wearing a jingle composer producer hat. But these we are talking simply that I'm an artist, but I'm not a performing artist, hypothetically, and I don't earn 50 lakhs a show, or I don't earn 2 crores a show like Tarsim and Arijit. So I don't have money to invest in my song. So I need someone to come and invest. The 5 or 7 labels in the country are not looking at me or are interfering in my creative and saying, yehi chalta hai, yehi banao. So then I need to go to a brand who doesn't say any of this. And it's difficult to go to a brand for an individual. There is a entry barrier because it's not easy to just go to 200 brands and, just keep flogging your this. You need people like ourselves to do it. Yes, Tarsim, sorry.
So, okay. I got it. I mean, this is extremely insight. I mean, if I have to sum it up, I can understand that every brand has a different reason to invest in music or any other content. Sometimes it is purely an advertisement model where they make a jingle or they make a campaign around music and they hire musicians to do it. Sometimes it is subsidizing the content value for you, content cost for you, whereby they participate and they pay you money, which eventually help artists and the content creator to make money out of it. And I just want to ask one more important question. When the brand deals with an artist, is it the views, number of views on the content, or the number of followers on their platforms which is important, or is it not important, or both are important? I don't know.
See, again, it's the philosophy of the brand. It depends on whether, like Samir rightly said, each brand at the different life cycle of its brandingness or whatever brand life cycle, as Philip Kotler or someone would put it, would decide its own reason and rationale. So, for example, when my colleague and my bestest friend Ashish and we went and sold the six-pack band to Hindustan Unilever. The objective was neither CSR. So let me clear this. I have never met any brand जिसने CSR से कहा कि मैं music industry को support करना चाहता हूँ पैसे ले. There's no brand that gives money out of CSR to any musician. Even here, when we got people from the streets of Mumbai and created a transgender band, the Hijra band, the idea was not ki what numbers will we get. No, it was just to sort of create that whole impact that this brand is about inclusiveness. It's about chai bringing people of different hues and colors together. So transgender, so be it. Chai to sab peete hain, So that was the whole philosophy of the
Okay, so guys who are watching us, after 10-15 minutes, I have the next segment where we want to talk about social media influencers and these other kind of apps, and then we will bring to all the three panelists. You can prepare by the time, and we would request you to, with utmost request, that please share one success story of one activity which you have worked with a brand. Okay, so because Shahir is also working with brands, Samir is also working with brand. And if it is specific to music, it will even be better thing for us. But before that, I'll move into Samir again. Samir, there is more towards social media. This is more towards social media influence and influencers, and all those people are making. What are the different? I mean, your company represents some of the best social media influencers, and also integrates them and curate various options for ideas around the brands and stuff like that. What is the basis on which these influencers get paid by the brands?
So it may be relevant for the most recent example over here for the Pepsi Swag Say Solo campaign, or something that we've done with Oppo and sorry, it was with Vivo. Brands will look for reach and engagement, and they'll typically work through some sort of an agency to advise them on what's the cutoff in that. Now, I often tell a lot of talent that whether you are 1 million on Instagram or 5 million on Instagram, you are not going to get 5 times the money because you're 5 million versus 1 million. There is a cutoff that a brand has in their mind and a basic positioning of that talent. They may choose a 1 million Instagrammer or a 500,000 Instagrammer over a 5 million Instagrammer because the connect with the 500,000 follower based Instagrammer is more pure to their brand. So every artist, and an Instagrammer is an artist, a TikTok star is an artist, a YouTuber is an artist, and I think we all have to respect the artistry in each, because people have views on what is good or what is bad. I feel Hollywood looks at Bollywood with a little bit of cringe. Bollywood may look at some regional with a little bit of cringe, so on and so forth. So the brands look at what connects with their is there an overlap of the talent's fan base with their fan base that they want to go after, and that's what they select on. And there has to be a minimum scale. ये नहीं कि वो बहुत छोटा scale हो तो उनको value नहीं मिल रही है. There is one school of thought that says work with many micro influencers, Tarsem. तो what they'll say is कि 1000 माइक्रो इन्फ्लुएंसर को लो, 500 फॉलोइंग भी है, 1000 भी फॉलोइंग है उनकी, ऐसे 1000 लोग को इकट्ठा कर लो. I am not a believer of that delivering value, to be honest. And whenever you do that, it's impossible for a brand to manage the quality of that output and to measure what actually happened. And the platforms that do that have a very hands-off approach कि ये marketplace मैंने बना दिया, ये मंडी है इन लोगों की, and you can just come and engage with that. I don't think that gives value. There is a view that does. we believe in more, we call them key opinion leaders. And so we believe
Hmm.
in super key opinion leaders, super calls. We call
Hmm.
them super calls, okay? Super KOLs.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think super KOLs deliver this value. So we would look at somebody and price them, somebody with upwards of 1 million Instagram following. And I'm using Instagram as a benchmark because I think no matter what your TikTok base would be or Facebook base would be, if you have a zero Instagram base, you have a very weak following, unless somebody wants your YouTube channel specifically. So Instagram has kind of become a bellwether for brands, I would say. So if you're between upwards of 1 million on Instagram, a post plus a story can be priced anywhere between 1 to 3 lakh rupees. If you're
Wow.
a much bigger Instagrammer, you could charge 5-7 lakh rupees. And then if you're a Ranveer or a Virat and all that, those are typically, they would not do small things like this. They would do it as part of a multi-crore campaign जहाँ पे ये भी हो रहा है. So big
Hmm.
celebrities do not do these individual posts, but I think a digital superstar is very happy and comfortable in this space, and this is their rosy roti, so to speak.
This is a really, really good number, Will, because I know for a fact, I know a lot of my friends who must have done a lot of work in the music industry, but they would not get a 1 to 3 lakh rupees for even performing for 1 hour. And if somebody
Yeah,
is having a million Instagram followers, he might not be a musician as well. He might just be making covers or doing anything. So it is, I have understood it is about reach, engagement, and connect. Are you a key opinion leader or not? Are people following what you say or not? Correct.
exactly,
That's the
exactly.
badge. Okay.
Going
Okay.
back,
And you
Darshan, to
said
that earlier conversation, reach. It's that reach and the connect with the brand. Same thing for which
hmm.
they spend brand money on anything. Same logic applies. There is no new logic when they're doing influencer. Same rooted in the same thing, messaging.
So be able, so I understand to be able to make decisions better with brands, there has to be some advertising and marketing knowledge in your mind. You need to study about a little about how brands think and advertise and spends their money. Correct? Okay. The next question, you said in an interview with Music Plus that these TikTok influencers or social media influencers have far more bigger reach than film stars as well. I really wanted to ask you how, and can you give me a practical explanation on that? Is it real or is it just a statement? I'm sorry, I'm saying that.
It just remind me, Music Plus. What is this publication? I forget this interview. Ye- what? So Music is Plus is part of Tarsem Mitchell's big empire. So this is a music publication. If you guys are in the music business, you must go check out Music Plus. And yes, but Tarsem, I think a slight correction there. What I had said is that I think that a time has come where digital superstars, super KOLs, have started getting higher engagement
Engagement, correct?
than even Bollywood celebrities. And this is
Hmm.
something new. At no
Hmm.
point is someone suggesting, or certainly I'm not suggesting, that they are bigger in terms. How do you measure an artist? Okay. So I think the metric that people use is पैसा कौन ज्यादा खींचता है. So if you are going to
Hmm.
get paid 20 crores for a film, you're a bigger artist than somebody who gets paid just 2 crores for a film. Somebody who takes an artistic view may say that a 2 crore actor is a much better actor than a 20 crore actor, but that's not what we are looking at from this perspective right now, right? So if we can just have, I'd just quickly put together a couple of slides. If we can have someone from the backend team just put up that slide,
Sure.
I'd just quickly walk you through a couple of slides that where we have compared three mainstream stars. One is I think we have Salman Khan there on Instagram, and I'm using Instagram as the platform. And on Instagram, I think Salman's at about a little over 30 million, 33 odd million followers. I think the slide's coming up now. And then, so Salman's a multiple decades old Bollywood superstar. Then we have Ranveer Singh, who's a young people star. And Ranveer
Hmm.
is quite active on Instagram also. Can we have the first slide, please? I think this is the second slide. Can you go back one slide? Yeah. So you have Salman at about 33 million. You have Ranveer at about same 32 million. And you have Virat. And why I've chosen Virat over here is because Virat is a global icon. He's known all of
Correct.
in all the cricketing countries of the world. Plus, I think there is a certain novelty, especially after his marriage with Anushka, and there's a rub-off effect. So,
Hmm.
and Virat, you'll see. So the first column is the current fan following as of yesterday on Instagram.
Hmm.
The second column in green is how much they've grown in the last 1 year. So we are looking at a period from last year June to this year June. So 12 महीने में Virat has added 26 million followers, 2.6 crore followers on Instagram. Okay, and he's grown at 71%. So much higher growth than Salman and Ranveer. That itself tells you something interesting. Now we'll come, the next few people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are all digital stars. Some of them are Instagram only, some of them are TikTok largely, and some of them are, Bhuvan is a YouTuber. So you will notice over here, Mr. Faisu is 12.2 million on Instagram, so on and so forth. Bhuvan is 9.6, so on and so forth. Okay, and they have pretty aggressive growth. So you have 100% growth, 400% growth in the case of Samiksha Sood, people like that, 150% growth. Let's go to slide 2 now. So this is about scale. So we understand that a Bollywood celebrity or a traditional media star has bigger follower base, undoubtedly, no questions asked. Now let's look at engagement. In the last 1 year, last June to now, the average engagement for Salman, Ranveer, and Virat is in the 4% range. If you track your engagement on Instagram, you will find that 1% is also good, 2% is amazing, 4% is fantastic, especially at this scale. But now if you look at the next batch of 5 people, a Bhuvan is 9%, a Riaz is 12%, a Faizu is 11.5%. They range between 9 to 12%. So strangely, all of these Bollywood celebrities in the 4% bracket, all 4.2, 4.1, 4.7, these guys are all, or girls are all in the 9 to 12% range. Okay, so this is the point that I was talking about, higher engagement, because they are almost digital natives. They seem, because the people who are following, I'll bet that everybody who's a follower of Bhuvan is either a fan of Virat, Ranveer, or Salman. There's a very, very high chance that so there will be overlaps. But these people tend to be more engaged, maybe with the Bhuvan when he's on Instagram, than they are engaged with the Salman when he's on Instagram. Okay, so this is just because they see maybe Bhuvan as a digital native versus Salman as a movie star first. Let's come to the last slide now, which is the real, I think, killer slide as far as I'm concerned. That drives home the fact, and I'm quite a numbers person. I like to go by numbers to rather than just feel. Let's look at. I draw your attention to the first column and the last column. जो बीच वाली कॉलम है वो लाइक्स की कॉलम है. लाइक्स को मैं ज्यादा अटेंशन नहीं दूंगा इसलिए क्योंकि लाइक्स इंस्टाग्राम पे एक वन टैप या डबल टैप करके यू मूव फॉरवर्ड, उसमें ज्यादा एफर्ट नहीं लगता है. एफर्ट लगता है कमेंट लिखने में. भले कुछ भी आप लिखो, आप गाली लिखो जो आजकल काफी होता है, और यू राइट अ कमेंट. That's why I've taken the previous 1 year and not the last 3 months. But it takes effort to engage. And engagement sometimes is positive, negative, it is engagement. Look at the column of comments. Salman Khan at 2.4, Ranveer at 1 million, Virat at 2.7 million, Faizu at 8.5 million. Riaz at 5.7 million. So a Riaz is equal to Virat, Ranveer, and Salman, and combined, and likewise a Faizu is 3 million more than that also. So the comments for these kids, these digital stars, are so much higher than the traditional media stars who are active. We are not taking a non-active Instagram. Now this has not happened before. What does this mean? This means that something new has happened in this space. There are younger audiences who are engaging more with super KOLs than the traditional stars. The traditional stars value is still 10,000x of these people. There is no two ways about that. I'm a business guy, I get that. But this, what you're seeing here, has not happened in the past. That's the point I wanted to make about the slide. So we can have the slide off. But Tarsam, this is the background that we didn't get to sort of delve. Actually, we did delve quite deep into that interview also. And this was the basis of stating that.
Wow. This is an extremely interesting insight. I want to ask you one serious question and one a little funny one. Okay. Can we get off the slide, the Roma? Now, are the comments more because लोग ज़्यादा गालियाँ दे रहे हैं उनको, या वो free हैं reply करने के लिए, or how does it work? I'm sorry, this is the funny one.
Yeah. No, actually, if we remove the last 1 month, and the people who are connected will understand why I would remove the last 1 month. That's why I've taken a 1 year time period. Okay. I would say it's like 97%, 95+% positive, which is about the range that you'll get for good volume.
That's very
about
good.
3% positive negative ratio, or negative to positive ratio is acceptable. This is largely in that range. And no, these super KOLs do not get that much time to respond. As you can imagine, एक एक पोस्ट पे on average अगर 12-15 हजार आपके comments आ रहे हैं एक एक पोस्ट पे, और आप
तो कैसे reply
दिन के 2
करोगे?
कर रहे हो, it's impossible to engage that much.
Okay, now very quickly, two serious questions, and then we'll get into the stories. Starting from Shahid. One, तो ये अच्छा है कि हम फिल्म स्टार क्यों बनने की कोशिश करें? एक्टिंग करने के लिए बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, इससे अच्छा सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर बने, घर पे रहें, आराम से पैसा कमाएं. Do you suggest people to become social media influencer than trying to be learn so much of music, learn acting, do this and that, and try that thing?
Tarsam, that's as good as or bad as suggesting somebody who wants to be a singer to become an engineer. अभी जो आपके दिल में है, you have to be what you feel you are designed to be, right? So I would not tell somebody go be a social media star, but I'll certainly say that if you wanted to be and you did it diligently, that you can make some decent money. Today, it's not the same money that a film star would make. So if it's the calling that you're chasing, you have to figure it out. Now, let's also understand only 1%, one out of maybe 500 people who come to Bombay to be an actor even get a chance to be an actor. Usme se maybe 1/10 of that also become a star. Okay? So in the digital world, there's no gatekeeper. You don't have to go and convince a Karan Johar.
There's no entry barrier.
Adi Chopra. हाँ, so you get a lot of volume. तो आप ये volume देख के बोलते हो अरे यार ये सब कचरा है. But you're not seeing a lot of so-called not good talent. So I wouldn't call anything kachra. They've got a platform they're expressing. Now coming to the people who have risen the ranks, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, any platform, have worked hard for it. You cannot come to the top 5-10 without working your ass off for anything. Now time frames are shorter. Actors, YouTubers को देख के बोलते हैं यार I have spent 20 years, मुझे ये following नहीं मिलती है. They used to grudge it. TV stars, would grudge YouTubers. Actors would grudge YouTubers. YouTubers would grudge something else. So everybody feels like I have worked harder. And I think sometimes the time span to break out is shorter in some platforms versus the others. But this is just this is technology and how things are changing. You can't sort of preempt it.
Shamir wants to jump in. Shamir.
Yeah, Samir, I just want to ask you, barring maybe a couple of exceptions, these social media stars, do they traverse outside of their medium of fame, or are they only there within that universe?
So I'll just add on to that question कि जैसे टीवी से निकल के शाहरुख खान इतना बड़ा स्टार बना,
Absolutely, yeah.
सुशांत सिंह राजपूत,
there are a lot of stories like this.
So क्या डिजिटल से भी ऐसी स्टोरी है कि डिजिटल की रीच बन के कोई बड़ा स्टार बना है, पॉपुलैरिटी आई?
So Tarsam, I get this question a lot, and I like to say that it takes 9 months to make a baby, and we're trying to make a star here. Okay. So star बनने में थोड़ा और time. The point over here is it took 30 years to have the momentum of TV to then create a Shah Rukh to come into film. But then TV has become so big that you can be a big TV star and still make a decent living, better than a B grade or C grade level film star. Okay, if you're a superstar in TV, so you have to find where you can actually make your market share, so to speak. So to specifically answer Shamir's question, Shamir, it's not happened yet. It's happened in bouts. Like these people make a lot of money through live appearances. You'll be shocked. Some of these kids are doing 4 live appearances a month. They're going to small towns and cities and just coming there. Like back in the day, Shah Rukh and Salman would go on tour and just wave to people and say, I love you, and do that till somebody came and said, no, now you have to perform, And I think Shah Rukh took the lead in that and said, we have to entertain them. We can't just come there and wave. They're in that zone. They're coming there, waving, taking a picture and moving on. And we attempted something similar with Epic Fam Jam. And we said, okay, now we're going to take these people into the live world and make them perform. Okay, and do stuff and not just take these pictures, etc. So I think it is happening. You will buy that when it happens. It will happen so quickly. I think Bhuvan came close to did a movie. Okay, now so one of these kids is going to do a movie which is going to be very popular, and that movie may not be in theaters. It may be on an OTT platform. Think of it. If we are all consuming video on digital, to have a digital superstar in a digital medium will make a lot of business sense. As long as the person can act. It is only a question of time and that switch will happen.
Which is what I want to
when it happens, it will seem like ये तो होना ही था. अभी
It's a great time to become
3 साल में होता, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so this competitive advantage that some of them have by being quick stars, do you think it will turn into a sustainable advantage given that in some cases, and I have nothing against or anti anybody, but given that their probable talent quotient is, like today Narijit is a 16 ghante Riyazi singer, vis-a-vis someone in the digital world who must be just a singer and people are liking him. And I don't think nothing succeeds like success, so I respect all that success. But to sustainable success बनने के लिए, it comes back to the intrinsic and inherent पुख्ता talent है या नहीं, that question.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. So I think singing and music, Shamir, is a honed skill. You will get better. The input output ratio is there's a direct correlation. Let's look at it in terms of video. A popular video, an ad film director will say कि मैंने 20 साल लगाए हैं to make an ad film. Now Karan Johar has gone and shot a film in his house of Godrej hair dye. मेरा business खत्म हो जाएगा. It's a brilliant ad. I don't know if you've seen Karan Johar's Godrej hair dye thing.
Yeah. I think it's
fantastic. It's like, why the hell would you need to? Why would you want to use? Why would you want to shoot Karan for a 50 lakh or a 1 crore ad budget when that film is doing slamming in terms of what is your communication that you want to put out?
Yeah.
Okay, and now you can target the right people. So the ad film director will say that this is bullshit. You've just taken this away, and this is very quick. This is not cool. So you have to figure. So singing, I think, is a very specialized job, which I don't think any digital star, unless they're brilliant talent themselves, will ever succeed in matching an Arijit or a compositional skills of an A.R. Rahman or any, or Shan or anybody else. So I think that is it. But they are creating, it's what you call a blue ocean strategy. You are not competing in that. You're creating new avenues. So a vlogger, 5 years ago, vlogger kuch nahi tha. What is a vlogger? When Bhuvan started doing these 4 characters and using abusive language, pehle logon ne usko bola ye kya bakwas hai. Now he's a hero. He's a superstar. At least I think he's brilliant. And vlogging has now become that. So that's the point. Ki there are new avenues. So you could take an actor and this actor will say, "Maine itna ye koshish ki Bollywood mein Bhuvan is getting a break in Yash Raj for a Yash Raj movie. Like, what the hell is this?" But why not?
Okay, guys.
Is the question.
I'll have to, guys, we didn't realize we've been speaking for 80 minutes. And Shahir, I want to apologize for being the very bad moderator. We haven't come to you. We'll straight away come to you now. And why don't you share one experience, brand experience story which we were discussing quickly in 2 minutes? And thank you, guys. We still have about 214 people watching us live, including Facebook and YouTube. That's a great number. Thank you so much for being here for so long. Shahid.
Yeah, so I mean, we've had various experiences, especially working with leading artists from South, right? So I'll probably not get into that because those artists have the kind of fame and following which automatically gives that attraction to a brand because of the high following, engagement, reach, connect, right? So I'll probably give another example, right, which I think is probably more apt for all these upcoming artists and talents that are out there, right? So there's this one particular singer who was in one of the TV reality shows, in the the singing reality shows. Not a winner, was just a participant there, right? So when he came and he met us and he said, like, while I am getting like live event performances, but I'm not popular anywhere on digital, right? So how can we work there? So he kind of content on regular basis. You have to be really active across various social media platforms, right? So he understood that. So he we helped him devise a content strategy, and he was not worried that my peers in the program are not doing like what I'm doing. So I'm doing a lot of covers, or they're not doing that. They're probably just doing one original music video a year, or a couple of original music videos a year. So he did that. He developed it. So eventually what happened was that he started getting 1 lakh subscribers, then 500,000 subscribers. So automatically brands started noticing him, right? So brands start approaching, okay, um, we're definitely interested in working with this artist in different ways. So we've had an engagement with like a brand like Zebronics, for example, right, which is a accessories brand, and there was a natural connect for the speakers and headphones that they were using along with the music content, right? So this is a really good case where because he was understood that the digital platform, you cannot just be present on it once a year or twice a year. You really need to, reach out to the audience and engage with the audience on a regular basis. And didn't worry about that. I'll only stick to playback singing. I'll only stick to live events, right? So that strategy helped him to kind of reach a place where now brands consider him as a digital friendly, digital engaging, digital influencer, as a music creator. And he's been also been able to marry with integrating brands in his videos, right? So it's a very
Would you mind
simple.
sharing? Would you mind sharing his name, Shahid?
So
Well,
Raja Ganapati. So I think he was part of one of the TV channels singing reality competition.
and
Not a winner, as I said.
how much money would a brand pay for him to engage? I mean, just as a random. I mean, you can choose to give me a standard number. You don't have to
Yeah,
be
so
very
I think
specific.
so it's again to some extent related to also the kind of viewership also that he brings to the videos, right?
Hmm.
So anyway, between a lakh to 2 lakhs is the range that he's been able to bring, right, from a purely
Which is a good
branded
number, yeah.
content perspective. Yes, yes.
Okay, that's a great story, Raja Ganapati. Thank you, Shahid. I'll move to Shamir sir. Shamir sir, can you? I mean, I know you have done a lot of activities, but OnePlus series is my favorite because that's purely music and that's multiple artists, a long activity which spans across thing. If you wish, then it's fine. Otherwise, you can share some other stories if your wish.
No, I think that's most recent, so I can elaborate on that. See, the reason we are very happy and it gives us great satisfaction, both wearing a business hat and a musician hat, is because, in most conferences for the last 5 6 years, I keep hearing people talk about independent music, non film music. We should do this, we should do that. And so I think this is what the brand happily did. The brand did force us to do any kind of film or Bollywood skewed music. We did original music. We ensured that there are no remakes and remixes in a zamana where there are so much of remixes happening in the last couple of years. And we did 10 artists, 10 music videos, one song, one video per artist. And you can check with all our artists, all my friends who've been a part of it, that this was a repertoire of their choice. Like said, apart from hygiene, saying that the video doesn't have any ashleelta, etc., we've not really poked our nose into it, their creativity. And the beauty was during this entire journey, there was no stress on anyone because artists ko Ghana videos are paid for mila. We were anyway paid for and we were conduits. Brand was also confident that with us and with our 2.5 decades of doing this, we would deliver a number. We had promised them that we would deliver 50 million. We actually delivered more than 600 million, which is what I call the
Wow.
Siddhivinayak syndrome, that you have to work hard, get your music right, and go and pray. And I think the range of artists is from the melody queen of today, Shreya Ghoshal, to the rap boys like Divine and Nezi, to the Punjabi flavor, Guru Randhawa, to the new find Dhwani Bhanushali, to Rahat Saab when the Pakistani singers were allowed about 3 years ago, to Neha Kakkar. I mean, you can't have any series in today's
So,
time without Neha.
Shamir sir, this activity, so you were the curator. So the artist created their content and they own the content, and OnePlus has spent every money on it. Correct?
That's right. I ensured that because I wanted to make this as a case study. Ki it is not zaruri ki the conduit or the record label or the aggregator or repertoire interface body or whatever nomenclature you want to give to the same animal needs to own all the rights, because बीच में ये भी बहुत flavor था, where everybody used to say copyright, copyright, copyright. We should own the rights. ये वो artist. तो artist इस पूरे मुद्दे में artist has owned all their rights and their own monetization. So the artist has gone to the streaming services through some Believes and Orchards of the world. They've gone through a lot of these kind of conduits to ensure that they are monetizing it until today, and for the rest, for perpetuity and global monetization, will keep going back to them.
Fantastic.
I mean,
Fantastic.
I could have put a spanner there saying that X percentage needs to come to me because you've got this free ride from me and so on and so forth. But I chose not to because we really wanted this to be an artist friendly journey, and which is why I'm extremely happy, and which is why we're now moved on to season 2.
So, Shamir sir, honestly, I am an artist first person. I mean, my entire life the most biggest contribution is because of the artist, and I really feel great with such kind of initiative, and I really wish एक नहीं ऐसे कम से कम 50 ब्रांड्स आए और 500 गाने बने हर साल, और more and more of this should happen, then because the जो इंडस्ट्री की हालत है हमारी अभी रेवेन्यू के मामले में, लाइव भी बंद है, अगर ऐसी कुछ चीजें होंगी तो एटलीस्ट इट विल बी बेटर फॉर आर्टिस्ट टू सर्वाइव एंड डू
Arsem,
वेल.
I just want to share with you a quick story for everybody who's viewing here. I wouldn't name artists, but way back in '98, and Atul Churamani sir, who's one of the veterans in the music industry and who's sort of mentored so many people, he will endorse that there are a lot of artists in the earlier days who would always build a wall when you would say कि एक brand का पैसा आ रहा है. And till now, I used to see a little bit of discomfort sometimes in an artist, because artist को लगता है कि मैं बाराती हूँ और सिर्फ लड़की वालों को ही सब खर्चे करने चाहिए मेरे लिए. That's very old school and hackneyed and trite kind of my paradigm, and there needs to be a paradigm shift in the artist themselves, because क्या होता है कि जब आप आर्टिस्ट के पास ये प्रस्ताव लेकर जाते हैं तो आर्टिस्ट को लगता है कि यार पता नहीं मेरे ऊपर कितना पिगी बैक होने वाला है, और I think I'm worth 5 crores or $1 million or whatever that is. So artists, as you rightly said, ki now more and more as times are getting tough, and certain like Sameer and Shahir were saying ki in reality when you see the dhanda, it could be just 1 paisa per stream, or like Shahir was saying ki 5 paisa average hai, par wo bhi agar aap kisi aggregator के through जाओ तो हो सकता है 3-3.5 आपका realization हो, and so on and so forth. तो उसमें it's more and more important to get yourself hedged, get your costs hedged. Unless you're an artist जिसने 100-200 करोड़ बना लिए हैं और आप बना रहे हो by the side अपना शौक पूरा करो, but that's not the case. 99.9% of the artists are artists who are living hand to mouth. Yesterday also I was watching some artists on Instagram, but they were saying कि अरे ये तो रोज फ्री में हम यहाँ गा रहे हैं, कुछ हो नहीं रहा है हमारा. I hope so. I keep thinking कि वो लोग खुद अपने आप को dilute करते हैं, और जब उनके पास हम जाते हैं प्रस्ताव लेकर तो then they say कि no, I think we need a lot of money. So I think they need to understand, and I think people like yourselves need to sort of also coach them, finger hold them, so that it becomes easier for the brand, for us, and for everybody concerned, and mainly for them.
Okay, we'll quickly go to Sameer. Sameer, a brand story, and then we'll take audience questions for the next last 3-4 questions. Quickly.
Okay, I'll try and keep it short. I think the only way to do work in our space, and maybe you've curated this group because we're all artists first. I'd like to talk about Jamin, which we've done 3 seasons of. Jamin was a very simple concept of bringing together digital stars with Bollywood legends. When season 1 we did with the brief was to Mr. Rahman, Salim Suleiman, Clinton, and Mithun to create whatever song they wanted, and we paired each one of them up with 3 artists, not Mr. Rahman, but the other 3 composers with 3 digital stars, and they could make whatever they wanted. There was absolutely no intervention, and the music was launched on the YouTubers channel, not on the. So we wanted to disconnect this mentorship. It was actually a collaboration, and in each of those cases, the YouTubers were had bigger clout. So that was the coming of the words, and there was no label attached, nothing. This kind of dawned on us when we did the press conference, and all of these artists were sitting together with Mr. Rahman, Salim Suleiman, Clinton, and Mithun. Ki yahan pe koi label involved nahi hai. We were not a label, but everybody had come together. In our season 2 and 3, Group M has come on board, and we've had it's moved to a TV format along with digital. So we have OTTs, streaming platforms that pay some money, brands that pay some money. It goes to TV. It also goes to digital. One that we did recently that was has been close to our heart is something with we did during COVID for HDFC Bank, a song called "Hum Haar Nahi Manenge" with Mr. Rahman. Again, completely free. About 18 artists associated with that, and shot at home, etc. And every share of that song, 500 rupees was donated by HDFC Bank. So I think in 48 hours or so, we raised about 2 crores for that. So that was an interesting, different project. And after maybe 2 decades, we got Mr. Rahman to fully work on this track from ground up. Because normally, when he's in the studio, he has like 4, 5, 7 people working with him on the track. But he had just one person working with him. So he did a lot of he mixed and mastered it also, I think. So it was very interesting. And then in the English music space, Nexa Music is, again, finding singer-songwriters in the English music space. Nobody was actually sort of holding that. And we went through, we got thousands of applications, and we found 24 shortlisted applicants and then 4 stars out of this that we're going to nurture now into a season 2. So that's on
Wow.
Nexa Music for English. So several such things.
That's really interesting, Samir. I mean, all these three stories are, just so different from each other, the best part, and which explains that, there is a huge scope. I mean, it depends on how you are able to integrate and, work things better. Before we move into the audience questions, I just want to sum up what we discussed. I mean, it's fantastic insights. People who must have joined, that out of all the revenue streams for an artist and content, we could not touch everything today because the time is short. But in terms of audio, it has different audio revenue if a freemium user is consuming or a premium user is consuming. If your user is consuming your content in India or outside India, typically it ranges between 2 to 20 paisa, on an average 5 paisa, which is gross. Now the net money which comes to you or the content owner depends on what is your distribution fees, what is the marketing cost and stuff like that. You have to be very cautious while doing those deals. It is also different for different kind of content user. If you are somebody who has a lot of hit songs and catalog, your rates might be higher versus somebody who's just coming and releasing one song, like that. In terms of video streaming, YouTube is the number one platform, but there are other platforms including Facebook and TikTok. TikTok because of Reso's integration, which might come very soon with revenue options. But right now on the YouTube purviews also, Samir, thank you for explaining the myth and the real Dhanda world. And I understand it very clearly now that even if the best of the cases, your net revenue ranges from 0.8 paisa per view to going up to 3 to 4 paisa, 5 paisa. The same model for audio. If your music is consumed in markets where the ad rates are high, you will get higher revenue. If the overall brand revenues are higher, which you mentioned that it's only 12% of the total ad revenue, if tomorrow that percentage goes up or the total ad revenue goes up, economy goes up, then you'll have a higher revenue. On the brands and music side, out of all the discussions, what we have understood that it is the brands connect with audience, influencer for various reasons. It might be just making a jingle, or getting their reach out, or trying to sell the product, or about their any initiative which needs to engage with the music industry, and they pay on the basis of reach, engagement, connect, and they also try to focus on key opinion leaders, KOL, to be very honest. And the most important thing for any brand is the ROI. What is the return on investment? And then return matrix can be differentiated from brand to brand. In the social media influencer segment, Sameer, thank you for that slide. You clearly mentioned and showed us the numbers that some of the digital influencers have far more reach and engagement than some of the biggest stars of the country. That does not mean they are bigger than them. As you said कि बच्चा पैदा होने में 9 महीना लगते हैं और स्टार बनने में 30 साल भी लगते हैं. So and Sameer and Shahid also put their ideas on that this is a great place to get exposure because there is no entry barrier. You are not dependent on a filmmaker or a music producer or a label. You can just be on your own, create any kind of content. And if you are popular, it purely depends on how talented you are. If you want to become a singer, if you are not an extremely talented singer, you cannot have a long lifestyle. You can just be an entertainer, not be a singer. The same applies to if you're an actor or any other talent you have. Also, the three stories of Raja Ganapati and the OnePlus and SDFC, Nexa Music, and Jamin. All the stories are really, really cool. Now we'll straight away go to the audience for the questions. Akansha, can we have the first question, please? What have been the biggest innovations you've explored, Shahid? Shahid, this is for you.
Sure. So I think from as I mentioned, I think partly from what we told about Raja Ganpati, right? So I think we were not very worried about to be perceived in the traditional way, right? So typically, once you kind of break out, you get into put out one song, you maybe get called up by some music directors to sing tracks, right? While you focus on that side of the career, so we have been kind of nurturing people on how they should also be actively engaged on the social media platforms. So I think that's where I think we've been able to grow, and especially in the south, I mean, compared to what has happened in the in the Hindi speaking market. The covers and the original music has not really hit off that well, including even now as well, right? Compared to Hindi. So that I think is where we have been able to show that whatever limited successes has happened in the South, we've been able to kind of figure out a model where with making covers with the trending songs, and also able to collaborate with the production houses also, to promote their movies, their songs, and they doing a cover. So that kind of innovation where an artist need not be just held back by just doing playback singing, or just putting out their MTV style music videos, independent music videos, right? So I think
So is it
that's
right
what
to
I
say
think.
that your innovation is marrying all the things together and getting a solution out of it? Is it right to say that?
Yeah, that's right. Correct.
Okay. And the question was from Nirmika. Nirmika is a great artist, the editor of Rolling Stone India, and a very dear friend. Thank you, Nirmika. For I hope you got your answer. Can we have the next question, please? Oh, these are all big people asking questions. After Nirmika, this is Sunny MR. Without a big
Yeah.
label backing an artist, would the streaming services support an independent artist release, feature them on their playlist, or in general, how does one make sure their song is hard? Anybody who wants to take that question? Because we
Yeah,
don't.
I
Sorry.
can take it.
Okay.
So there's no easy answer, right? So I wouldn't say that one company would do it, another company won't do it, right? So it all depends on various factors. It depends on what the streaming service agenda is, whether they have place for placements of songs to promote your song, what the song is, does it do the playlist editors like the song, or the content curators in the streaming platforms like the song. But of course, there is a role of the label or the distributor also to send that recommendation to the streaming platform, right? And also how the artist is able to package it, right? Are they able to come out with promotional content for the streaming service, whether it be social media posts or some live engagement, right? So there's a various factors involved, right? And of course, end of the day, the content as well, because the streaming service also has to be told that, yeah, this content is something that I definitely can market, right? So it's a
Okay.
combination of all. It is possible, but it can't be a yes or no answer always.
It depends on the song as well, because I've been facing this, and I've been seeing this. What few things which I have learned, I want to add that it is important for you to give enough time to the playlisting department, to the editor department, to listen to your song. Because if you, let's assume, if you rush and want to release a song after 2 days versus you give a song a month prior to the release, there are far more chances of you getting into playlisting. Also, sometimes when there are big releases on the same day, it might be difficult, and at the end of the day, it depends on the song and the audio of what the editors
Correct.
feel like. Correct. Okay, the next question, Sunny, I hope you got your answer. The next question, please. Satish Kumar, for a new music composer looking for monetization and engagement, can we consider YouTube and streaming as best option over Insta or FB? Because in FB or Insta, as of now, there is no monetization. I think your question is an answer in itself. Anybody you want to take?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, I think the answer is in the question itself. That, and as
Mhm.
Samir also rightly pointed out a few minutes ago, that the monetization on the video is only on YouTube for now, and of course the streaming. So those are the only streams of monetization for now.
Correct. Satish, I'm sorry, the question had an answer in itself.
Yeah.
So that's the answer. Any next question?
I think that might have been the
Okay,
last.
we're done.
Yeah, we're
Samir,
done.
I'm sorry, audience, I forgot to mention one more insight which was shared by Samir, and which was like a specific insight that if on an average you have a 1 million Instagram follower, like we've taken Instagram as the base because most of the people are on Instagram for sure. And for a post and a share, typically you can get between 1 to 3 lakh rupees. Now, this is not a standard fixed formula. It might change from person to person, brands to brands. But this is how, if you have to understand the business matrix, you can understand on that. Uh, Thank you each and everyone. Thank you so much for first being agreeing to do this. And I'm sorry to all the audience that we are not able to touch all the revenue streams, but we've tried to touch as many as we can. Uh, while going in the end, that one tip to the content creators, what is that one tip which you want to give, starting from Shamir sir, that what is that one tip you want to give to achieve revenue?
However hackneyed and trite and repetitive it might sound, I just think कि संगीत पे ध्यान देना बहुत ज़रूरी है, या अपने किसी भी कला क्षेत्र पे, depending on whatever discipline of performing arts you're into, I think the craft is the most important, and we've seen that over the last many decades, and even in the recent past, wherever the craft, including your artist Sarijit for that matter, or whoever else, wherever the craft is correctly and intricately weaved and sort of honed, and that also includes actors and actresses, who are now going to gyms and are like ensuring six-pack bodies, blah blah blah. Then I think that's the only way to get numbers in the medium to long run. Short run maybe because of all these abusive things, etc. People might get the desired numbers, but I think the only way to sustain is to ensure that you respect your craft and एक इबादत की तरह उसको पूज कर उस पे मेहनत करके one just figures, because as they say in the music industry, it's all about the song. So just focus getting the song right, the rest will follow.
So content is the king, and make sure you focus on the king. Okay, Samir.
Yeah, I'll take off from where Shamir left. I'm saying talent, definitely, and investing in your talent, except that I think that it's a brave new world constantly, and there are new formats of talent expression, and therefore keep exploring that. But I'm taking talent almost for granted in one sense, and you have to invest in talent. The other two things for success, I think you may agree, that are important are temperament and drive. कोई एक आर्टिस्ट की जो टेम्परमेंट होता है और जो ड्राइव होता है, these three things together we have found very it sounds simplistic but it is rare to find talent with temperament and drive, and जिन आर्टिस्ट में talent, temperament और drive आप देखोगे, they tend to वो लंबी रेस की घोड़े होते हैं and they figure out something or the other. And it's not,
I just want to add one thing.
I just want to wrap up. Artists are like entrepreneurs. So you have to stick with it. You have to hone your skill. And that's where, that is my, I'm a left brain. I'm not an artist, but I feel I understand artists and I see the similarities between entrepreneurs and what artists are. An artist who treats themselves like an entrepreneur, discovers and makes lemonade when lemons are served to them, are the ones that I think win the game finally. Sorry, Shamir.
So,
yeah, I agree with you, Samir. I think reinvention of the artist is paramount. I think the artist needs to keep reinventing. And like in a lot of cases, when we talk to our artists and when we pick and choose our artists in our yesteryears when we were running labels and consulting for them, we would say कि talent 19 हो चलेगा, पर attitude or temperament 21 होना जरूरी है. So we would go with that rule of thumb for success.
Thank you, Shamir. Thank you, Samir. Shahid.
Yeah, so I think both of us, summed up really well. So it's a completely new world out there with so many new platforms and so many new formats coming out. So like every great artists that have come out through the ages, be it Beatles or A.R. Rahman sir. So keep trying. You will go through failures. You will see that it's not getting views. It's only got like 10 clicks, 20 clicks, 100 views. But don't stop. It will just one content or one song that can just change your fortunes and get you in front of crores of people.
So to sum it up, your thing consistency is what you're trying to say. So guys, if we sum all the three panelist tips, the content and talent comes first. That is the priority. Your content has to be good. Your talent has to be good. After that, the passion or the drive, the temperament or the attitude, investing in yourself, and being consistent. And last, my tips to please hire a good distributor like Shahid. Hire a good digital agency or platform, digital company like Samir. Hire a good consultant who can get you brands deal like Shamir, and hire a good manager like me who can manage you. So guys, thank you so much for being so wonderful, sharing like great insights. At the end, I just want to mention one thing. अगर हमने इस पूरे सेशन में किसी का भी नाम लिया है, किसी भी आर्टिस्ट का, किसी भी ब्रांड का, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट का, उन सारे लोगों से हाथ जोड़ के माफी है अगर आप लोगों को कभी भी कोई भी बात हर्ट हुई हो या कोई भी हो. हमारा पर्पस है कि आर्टिस्ट, हमारे जो कम्युनिटी है और हमारे जो लोग हैं उनको एजुकेट कर सके और वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा काम कर सके ताकि पूरी इंडस्ट्री को फायदा हो सके. Thank you so much for being so good. Shahid, thank you. Samir, thank you. Thank you, Shamir.
Thanks for great moderation, Tarsem. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir.
Great work, Tarsem. Take care, buddy.
Thank you. So, guys, thank you so much for being such an attentive audience. We just saw that there are still 160 people cumulatively on both the platforms. This video will also be available for as VOD on both the platforms. You can watch it later for some days. And looking forward to the next session at All About Music Digital Sessions. Thank you, each and everyone, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.